Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pretty turbulent week when it comes down to Donald Trump supporters. Oh, they are making all kinds of threats, and I've heard civil war. And Donald Trump is also coming out and saying some real interesting things, too. So, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump sent out a warning saying terrible things are going to happen as he's blamed for anti FBI violence. Now, there was an incident, I believe in Ohio, with one of the people that was also part of the insurrection that went up to the FBI and made some threats, and he ended up getting killed by the FBI out in a cornfield. Well, this is getting interesting. Now, you see the GOP, some of the members are talking about defund the FBI. Isn't that really interesting, y'all? I'm just saying. So, Donald Trump warned that terrible things are going to happen as he faces the blame for violence and threats directed at FBI agents. The country is in a very dangerous position. There is tremendous anger, like I've never seen before, overall, of the scams and this one, years of scams and witch hunts. And now this, Trump told Fox News Digital. hmm The former president told the outlet that he will do whatever he can to help the country, adding that the temperature has been brought down. Trump supporters and GOP allies react with outrage following the search of Mar-a-Lago by the FBI last week. Mr. Trump said that Americans are not going to stand for another scam, as the unsealed search warrant revealed that he is being investigated for obstruction of justice and possible violations of the Espionage Act, as well as other offenses. The FBI recovered, and I did a video on that yesterday, 11 sets of classified documents at Mar a Lago, Mr. Trump's Florida residence and private club. Some of the documents were marked as top secret, with some documents only meant to be viewed in a secure government facility. Mr. Trump has claimed that the documents has been declassified. And I heard those documents were about nuclear weapons. So you can't declassify that. If that's the case, he can't declassify it. So, speaking on Fox News Monday, Mr. Trump said that his aides had contacted the Department of Justice to inquire if the former commander in chief could be of any help, as supporters of the former president shared their fury at the search. Federal agents have faced threats, violence following the raid. A 42-year-old man was killed in a standoff with law enforcement after he attacked agents at the FBI field office in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, in a joint bulletin, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI said on the 11th of August, 2022, Ricky Shifter Jr., wearing a technical vest and armed with an AR style rifle and a nail gun, attempted to forcibly enter the FBI's Cincinnati field office when ununiformed officers responded. So he attempted to break the glass barrier and then fled the scene. But they did catch up to him, and wow, it didn't end well for him at all. All right. So There's never been a time like this where law enforcement has been used to break into a house of a former president of the United States. And there is tremendous anger in the country at a level that has never been seen before. Well, y'all kind of said that before. And I don't know. I mean, it's really only his supporters that are really angry at the end of the day. I mean, I can't say it's the whole country, but in the statement, the FBI said that it was always concerned about violence and threats of violence to law enforcement, including men and women of the FBI. Yeah, but if you're getting all these threats, and here's my question: why are we not rounding up these people? How come you're not rounding them up? But then again, we already seen the FBI's investigation and them taking people in for January 6th, and these folks get what, 1 week, 2 week sentences. Okay, so what would it be? The same thing for threatening the FBI? Y'all go get them and then they'll sit in jail for about a week or two. Pretty counterproductive. All right. We work closely with our law enforcement partners to assess and respond to such threats that are reprehensible and dangerous. As always, we would like to remind members of the public that if they observe anything suspicious, to report it to law enforcement immediately. Mhm. So Trump said he hasn't heard back from the DOJ concerning his offer to help cool things down. He added that there had been years of fake witch hunts and phony Russia schemes and scams. Nothing happens to those people who perpetuate that. Nothing happens to them, he said. And then they break into the president's house, sneak attack where it was totally no one ever thought a thing like this would happen. But they said they gave that warrant to Trump like days before they actually went into Mar-a-Lago, and his attorney was notified too. So he claimed the FBI break in and take whatever they want to take. And the federal agents told his aides at Mar a Lago to turn off the camera and that no one can go through the rooms. Now, I don't know, because somebody snitched on Trump. And I was listening to his niece, Mary Trump, and she seems to think it's Jared that did the snitching. But we don't know, and don't know if that's ever going to be revealed, but she seems to believe it's Jared. The Independent previously reported that Mr. Trump and his family watched a raid on security cameras from New York. They can take anything they want and put anything they want in. He claimed my people were asked to stand outside. So his staff had to stand outside the whole time the agents were there. So, Trump is putting that thought that things could have been planted in there by the FBI. So people are angry at what has taken place, he said, adding that the temperature has to be brought down in the country if it isn't, terrible things are going to happen. Hmm. Almost sounds like a threat, doesn't it, y'all? DHS and the FBI warned of increased threat levels in their bulletin to law enforcement agents issued after the raid on Mar-a-Lago. The FBI and DHS have observed an increase in threats to federal law enforcement and, to a lesser extent, other law enforcement and government officials following the FBI's recent execution of a search warrant in Palm Beach, Florida, the bulletin states. These threats are occurring primarily online and across multiple platforms, including social media sites, web forums, video sharing platforms, and image boards. The FBI and DHS would like to ensure that law enforcement, court, and government personnel are aware of the range of threats and criminal and violent incidents. The FBI and DHS have observed an increase in violent threats posted on social media against federal officials and facilities, including to place a so-called dirty bomb in front of the FBI headquarters and issuing general calls for civil war and armed rebellion, the agency said. Well, they did the insurrection. I wouldn't put nothing past them. So the memo states that the threats are specific in identifying proposed targets, tactics, and weaponry. Mm-mm-mm. So they said since the 8th of August, 2022, the FBI and DHS have identified multiple threats and calls for targeted killing of judicial, law enforcement, and government officials associated with the Palm Beach search, including the federal judge who approved the Palm Beach search warrant, the agency said. The FBI and DHS has also observed personal identifying information of possible targets of violence, such as home addresses and identification of family members online as additional targets. Wow, I guess they are taking this thing to the extreme. So, y'all, we shall see what happens. Like I said, this situation with Trump, this is going to be interesting for quite some time. You see how his folks are reacting, you know, we'll see. But I know this thing is far from over. It is far from over. But, y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interesting things coming out about those documents very soon. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.